regulations. What is the problem? The problem is the taxi industry in Malaysia has been going down in terms of its customers due to the heavy regulations that were imposed by the government. This led to the natural monopoly of the industry, where it was nearly impossible for other competitors to flourish, and this has to lead the customers to be left with very few options, and that lead to the price being set by the government and not from supply and demand. Now, there is a disruption of the system. This disruption is in the form of electronic e-hailing services such as Grabcar and Uber. This service have come into the nation because of the high demand from the public. It is conveniently and cheaper compared to the traditional taxis, and also unregulated because the regulations that exist only apply to the traditional taxis. What is e-hailing? E-hailing is enabled to the consumers to summons a ride whenever and wherever they want and settle their bills through an app, and then this has made travelling around easier for the consumer and provide a new source of employment for e-hailing drivers. There are currently at least 23 e-hailing apps available in Malaysia. So, how e-hailing giving an impact to the nations? For more explanation, I will pass to Adam.
Okay. So, thank you, Anna, for your explanation about the problem and also your introduction. My name is Adam, and I'll be talking about both the positive and the negative impacts of the deregulation of services that have been mentioned before, which is e-hailing. So I'll be starting off with the positive impact. So in this assignment or in this video, I'll be talking about 3 positive impacts, which are lower price to the consumers, comfort and convenience, as well as helps the society through economic means. So I will be starting off with the lower price. So obviously one of the major impacts of e-hailing is that it has provided consumers with different choices of prices due to the competitiveness that e-hailing brings, because as we know now, there are a lot of different services that the consumer can choose from. And besides that, those prices are not being regulated by the government as opposed to traditional taxis, where they endure heavy enforcement from the government due to the regulations. As well as e-hailing services use a dynamic pricing model to help set the price. Basically means that they have different prices depending on what time you choose your service provider. For example, the prices will be more expensive during peak hours and be cheaper during non-peak hours, while the prices for traditional taxis will obviously go higher during peak hours, but more or less the same during non-peak hours. So this is why many consumers prefer to opt for e-hailing, because of the flexible in the pricing, as well as for example, Grabcar in Malaysia charges solely based on distance travel, while the traditional taxis in Malaysia, they charge both on the distance as well as the time travel. So meaning that the longer that you stay or you are in a taxi, a traditional taxi, the more expensive that journey will be for you. So now moving on to my second point, which is comfort and convenience. E-hailing services have also benefited consumers by providing greater comfort and convenience, meaning that nowadays you don't have to wait by the street to haul a taxi. You can just download the app through your smartphone, and you can just order e-hailing service provider, either Grab or Uber, and they will come straight to where you are. So it offers great convenience because of, and also accessibility, because of how easy you can summon a Grab car, for instances. And a survey done by SPAD shows that this is one of the many reasons why many consumers are switching to e-hailing compared to traditional taxis, because of the ease of convenience. E-hailing also takes care of their customers with their consumer loyalty program, meaning that it basically means that it's an award point system where the more you use that service, the higher points that you can get, and you can transfer those points into payments for the journey that you have made, meaning that you don't have to pay them, you can just substitute it with the points that you have earned. So of course, finally, it is to help the society through economic activities. One of the major impacts of e-hailing is that it provides an opportunity for many Malaysians for employment, because it is a form of job as well for being a Grab car driver or Uber driver. They also provide a very flexible working hour, because they have both full-time and part-time, so meaning that if someone wants to do a part-time job without much consequences, so they can opt for being a Grab driver, and because of the ease of the application, they can immediately start right away. And this is also thanks to the deregulation process of the e-hailing service provider. This offers an easier opportunity for those who are less fortunate to be able to make a living for themselves due to the lack of procedures needed. So according to Uber and Grab, one of the few things that you need to apply is your license, of course, and also a well-functioning car. So now, I've mentioned to you about the positive impacts of e-hailing. So when there's positive, there's also negative. So now I'm going to be talking about the risks of the deregulation of the e-hailing service provider, meaning the negative impact of it. So basically, due to the lack of regulation, one of the many issues that were raised is about concern, which is safety. Unregulated services present a risk to consumers, because drivers might not necessarily go through a rigorous process to determine if they are fit or not, both physical and mentally, to be able to drive either traditional taxi or Grab or Uber. So this raises safety concerns towards the consumers. Another risk to consumers may emerge is that from the abuse of market dominance by e-hailing providers. As we all know, in Malaysia, Uber doesn't exist anymore because of the fact that Grab has merged with Uber, and is now Uber has merged with Grab and is now under one company, which is Grab Malaysia. Following the merger, Grab is now the majority player within the e-hailing market, and this in Klang Valley, that is. So for this may prove difficult for other competitors to compete because of Grab's dominance and presence, for example, MyCar and Soulcar. So when this happens, this might affect the prices of the demand and supply, or supply and demand, because of the fact that Grab is now the dominant player and they have the ability to set the prices due to the deregulation that it has. So that's all for my part. I'll be passing over to Sarvin for him to talk about the solutions that the government have taken to overcome the problem.
Thank you, Adam, for explaining about the positive and negative impacts on e-hailing and taxi services. So I'm Sharwin, and now I'm going to talk about the solution to the problem. So basically, we have two problems here which can be observed, which is the regulation of the taxi industry, and also the less regulated e-hailing providing services. So in order to align these two in the same pathway, what we can do here is to place both the traditional and e-hailing services into a new regulation to have an equal opportunity for both the services. So first of all, the government has taken the step is to impose a new regulation. So what was that is, as of effective 12th July 2018, all e-hailing companies are strictly required to register with the Land Public and Transport Commission, which is SPAT, and to comply all set of regulations that are in line with the taxi industry, which consists of three regulations, which are to provide a legal framework for e-hailing services. Secondly is to ensure the safety of passengers drivers and also the wider public. And thirdly, to establish a level playing field between e-hailing services and also taxi services. So in order to elaborate more on this regulation, the examples of those mentioned points for example, all e-hailing applications such as Grab and Uber is instructed to be equipped with SOS or 999, which is the helpline or emergency contact in case there is any emergency or danger that is being taken by the customer. And secondly is all e-hailing companies is to prepare a code of conduct and guidelines for driver, such as to keep the car clean, to have regulated law on how to keep your car on your number plate, the amount of tint in your car, and all sort of things. And not only that, the government is also to be audit in order. The government is, to be audit. The government has to be involved in order to audit and to protect the welfare of the drivers. And lastly, all e-hailing drivers must obtain a public service vehicle license and renew it annually, which consists of they have to be a Malaysian, age not less than 21, and they have a competent driving license, and also they are not blacklisted by any government officials such as PDRM, SPAT, JPJ, and so on. Other than that, the taxi industry also will be deregulated, which is some of them will be provided with financial aid, because as you can see, the taxi services are using quite old cars and causing a lot of emission around the city. So by providing financial aid, the taxi services can improve to a better car with a higher emission. And also this is to encourage taxi drivers to merge with Uber and Grab, to join with the e-hailing services and to provide a better service throughout the nation. And to sum it up, since Adam has explained about the positive impact and negative impact on what can and cannot be done with e-hailing and taxi services, I feel that the government has taken a first major good step for both e-hailing and taxi services to have the equal opportunity to give out their service, and also ensuring the customer are satisfied with both the services. And that's all I think from me. Thank you.